Everything in this sport is a competition. Everything. Every press conference you go to, you should be keeping track. If you've got a pen and a piece of paper in front of you, you should be making a tally. How many questions were you asked and how long did you spend answering them versus whoever else is on that stage with you? And if you show up and you're not getting questions and you don't find a way to interject, shame on you. Everything is a competition. They got t-shirts for sale. You should be keeping track. You should find a friend over there in the company and just get numbers. Who is selling what? How far am I behind? This guy's selling more for me. Great. That's all I need to know. I'll take it from there, do my own investigative work. I will stalk this guy. I will follow him on social media. I will look at every single thing that he ever does that has anything to do with these goddamn t-shirts, and then I'm going to copy his idea. But it's all a competition. Middleweights, all of you are losing. You are losing, and you are losing badly. When I take a look at middleweight, I would argue that Israel Adesanya is the most fun fighter to watch. I would also argue that he is the most dynamic. I can't prove those things. Those are opinion-based, but we do have a popular majority vote, and I think that you guys would concede that to me, man. Adesanya does everything right. He will entertain you on his way to the ring. He is going to cut a promo before he leaves the ring, and he has never had a boring fight. I mean, right, Adesanya, this guy's got it going on. Adesanya is about to fight Robert Whittaker. I forgot those two were going to fight until Adesanya came out 2 days ago and said, things are going to be very different this time. Things are going to be very different. You knocked him out twice the first time. Well, like, what more difference? But it was still interesting, and I still read it, and I'm going, man, I really want to see that fight, by the way. I am not hating on Whittaker versus Adesanya at all. Particularly because you have to answer one question in a rematch. One question before you can book a rematch. What's different? Now, if that gets a different result or it doesn't, you must be able to fulfill that question right off the bat. Robert Whittaker's different. There's your answer. If you have forgotten, if you did not see, or if you did not observe while seeing Robert Whittaker versus Kelvin Gastelum, go rewatch that match and you will see Robert Whittaker is not the guy Adesanya fought the first time. Whittaker has added what he needs to add to beat Adesanya. Now, Whittaker's going to have a mental battle. He looks at Adesanya and he doesn't love that matchup. That's Whittaker's business. He can come and argue with me, and that's between him. But as I see it, that's the problem that you're at, and I will also submit for you that Adesanya is the same guy. Now, when you're as dominant as Israel Adesanya, when you're winning fights and you're not even losing rounds, Adesanya not only beat Robert Whittaker by finish, he knocked him out twice. You guys remember that fight? Adesanya knocked Whittaker out twice in 2 rounds. When you're in that spot, it's very tough for you to then say, I need to change things. In fact, it's probably wrong. If you're getting the outcome that you want, not only that, but the performance as well. It was absolutely dominant. Adesanya did not have a glove put on him, and he put his opponent out twice in one evening. I mean, in all fairness to Adesanya, I do not think that it should be viewed as an insult that I'm saying he's the same guy as he was then. I don't think that's an insult. There's a gap. He's maintaining that gap, but Whittaker's not. Whittaker's very different. I only want to disclose that to you guys because I am not hating on that fight. I am very interested in that fight, and I'm going to be the one charged with telling you guys the story. The one that I just told, I'm going to have to amplify it and tell it more and more and more because Whittaker and Adesanya are going to do a goddamn thing to help me. Okay. The division is still failing. The mere fact that Adesanya and Whittaker are going to rematch when there was nothing, and I do mean nothing, competitive about the first time they fought. The mere fact that we have guys within that division who have never lost within the division. Guys that are on 7-fight win streaks, and they're not even in the conversation of getting the opportunity over a guy who was already given the opportunity and didn't want the rematch, but they're still going to do it anyway. Your division is failing. If I went to the average fight fan and said, hey, do you want to see this fight? Do you know when it is? Do you know what arena they're fighting in? Do you know what the date is? I'm gonna get back a whole bunch of crickets. And there's still some time. They can get off their ass, or they can be mad at me for saying it. At least I'm talking about it. Nobody else is. So I'm doing as best as I can do to do a favor, but I have a larger point, which is all of the other middleweights. Where are you guys? Do you not see that your division is under attack? Are you not aware that a guy is getting a rematch before you're getting your first match? Do you not see that as a problem? Do you not see that as problematic? Meanwhile, at 155 pounds, I could go find any day, hit the refresh button, and there is going to be chatter amongst the 55-pounders all arguing about who should go where and when. You can look at the heavyweight class, which is in a pretty good hands right now. Pretty uncommon, but it is. You can look at light heavyweight. That through the history of the organization UFC has been a perennial weight class, and it's back on top. 135 pounds got parity. Guys are switching weights at 125. There ain't a goddamn thing going on at 185. None of you guys are getting headlines. None of you guys are being interesting. None of you guys have anything coming up that anybody's talking about. When your champion is about to do a rematch that had absolutely no level of competition and nobody called for it, the challenger in this case, Robert Whittaker, God bless him, wonderful guy, never asked for the match. He never said he wanted it. There is no media member anywhere that said that they wanted that match. And the fact that they're going to redo it when there's all of this fresh pair, you think Adesanya wants to go out and do something that he's already done for what? It's a very hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to ask Izzy to do. Whittaker's doing that he never wanted to do. I think Whittaker's prepared for it. By the way, I'm not sure I'm not picking Whittaker. I'm just throwing that out now just because Whittaker is so different. I love the match. I think it's the right thing to do. I'm speaking to a larger point about the division that is stand back and is allowing it to happen. Speaking of a division where you got guys that have never lost within the division, main event fighters, stopping the top guys on the world on ESPN. Who aren't even in the conversation. You should be asking yourself why. You're all partners. High tide rises all boats is very true when you're dealing with a division, but if you're so hateful and you're so spiteful and you're so competitive that you're trying to pull everybody down, you're going down with it. You must light a fire behind it. If your division is not the perennial division, you should be looking around and wondering why it's not and start saying, what have I done to make it that way? What am I doing to pitch in? How am I making this compelling? How are things going to be different? Where is the parity? Where is the focus? How do we have a world championship about to be contested and nobody's discussing it? It's a very tough spot. I don't like to see middleweight in this spot because I do believe that they have the bodies. When you don't have well-known names, right, perception becomes reality, and it's never clearer than within the sport of MMA or within boxing. If I was to do a poll on who the best boxer is at such and such weight class, that is purely a popularity contest of who have you heard of more. You will know nothing about their skills. You'll know nothing of their story. You'll know nothing of their resume. And you go, Floyd Mayweather, my God, I've heard, of course it's Floyd. That just means Floyd is more popular than the next guy, just by example. Or if you go, oh, it's Canelo, well, okay, then you've read more headlines on Canelo. You don't actually know what their skills are because they don't have a competitive architecture in place, so it would be impossible to know in the first place. But it's still a real thing. Where if you have names that aren't household, it has nothing to do as a reflection with on their resumes or within their skill set. It's perception over reality. And those guys need to band together much better than they are. They can go fight it out in the unified rules, all chips on the table, take everything from the guy that you got. You still got to get the guy across from you in the first place. They don't let you go do this sport by yourself. There's not a kata contest. It is a fighting contest, you versus somebody else. So whether you like him or not, you need a partner. I cannot remember a time in history where middleweight has been this tough. I can't remember a time in history where you have the most exciting guy, and I'm going to say that's Adesanya. That's a personal opinion. But I think Adesanya has a way to entertain you all that is different from anybody else. Because he will do it on the way to the ring and he will do it on his way out. We all love what he does inside there. I'm just sharing with you. He is something very special. When he's on the top of the bill, but your division is the one with the dimmest light on it, you've got a problem. You've got a very big problem that can't be fixed from the outside. It's got to be fixed from within. Whether you guys got to huddle up, you got to team up, or you just got to start going about it and hope that the guy across from you's got the sense that God gave Geese to do his part and follow along. Either way, middleweights, you right now are under attack.